What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Survivor Now podcast. This is the Survivor 47 after show, and we are here to talk all about episode 9 of Survivor 47. My name is Randy Bruce Ziegelman. Tonight, I am joined by my usual panel of Josh Green, season 41 castaway Eric Abraham, and season 44 and 45 castaway Bruce Perrault. But for tonight's episode, Bruce and Abraham have lost their ability to speak on the podcast and must play a game of reverse Jenga to earn it back. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? We're going to get into all of this, all of the mess that we had tonight on this episode. So join our live chat along all podcasts long. This is Survivor Now. And here we are. I did everything except set the correct layout. So I did pretty good. Hello, everybody. And what do we have? We have some goodies here. Bruce has his buff.
You'll never beat me, Bruce. You'll never beat me. I'll be ready.
Is that E.T. in a Santa outfit?
Of course not. Quit playing. I don't know what this is.
What? And Josh, you had a buff too, I saw?
I do have a buff, yes.
Oh, that's
obviously I didn't play this season, but it's a buff I have nonetheless.
I thought you.
I just had the zombies. I'm going to be a silent assassin. Whatever game I play against Abraham, you done, son.
Did you not see my glasses? Did you not see my glasses on my guy? He's ready.
This is their way of telling me, Randy, you're being too negative. I said I'm going to start off with smiles and everything. Abraham, Bruce, didn't I say that you guys had to compete in a backwards game of Jenga, or one of you were going to lose your vote or something, or lose your ability to speak? Yeah. Yep. Let's get into. I mean, I know this beginning was chaotic, but that's what this episode was a complete and utter mess. And I said on the pre-show, I said, I put it out there. This is a top 15 season all time. I'm not taking it back. Every season has one episode. And this was the first episode this season that was just kind of, I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. I'll start off with Josh, because I always love to ask Josh right away. Was this a good chaotic episode of Survivor, or was this a bad chaotic episode of Survivor?
It depends how you define what makes good chaos, right? Like, because you can be results oriented and think, okay, a good chaotic episode means like a big shakeup and plans changing last minute and votes all over the place. And this was, pretty much the whole time, like once Genevieve and Sue got back to camp, they were like, okay, it's Saul. And then that momentum was building, and that's what happened. And yeah, there was a lot of, change plans and things moving around, but ultimately ended up being Saul. So it was fun. I was invested. I was like all the scrambling at Tribal was like, it definitely had me hooked. And I think when they're leading up to it, all of the last second scrambling with like the dark, ominous music did give a pretty epic feel to the whole thing. And I was on the edge of my seat watching the votes being read, but then watching it just be 8-1, Saul was a little bit of a so I think all things considered, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, all things considered. I'll say that.
Okay. So we needed some positive energy here before we talk about some other stuff a little bit later on. Abraham, Bruce, whoever wants to take it, what did you guys think about tonight's episode and all the chaos and how messy it was and all that?
Good. That shit was boring as hell. That shit was boring as shit. I was like, this is boring as shit. I'm like, this is the best we can do now. I mean, it was like a letdown compared to the other episodes. I was like, damn, is the basketball game on?
I know we're a Survivor podcast, but we call it how we see it. That's why I love all of us chatting on Survivor Now. I will say this was an episode. I was on my phone for about the last 35 minutes of it, which actually made it really hard. There was multiple times that I'm scrolling through my phone, and then like the original plan was Soul. And then I go, wait a minute, did they just say Sue? Wait, what? Kyle now? Like, it was like, this was not the episode for me to be looking at my fantasy team in terms of basketball during the episode. Because I was like, how do we even get to these names? Because like you said, Josh, they were building up. This was going to be an easy vote for Soul. And I will say the episode did a really great job. The producers did a great job of making it be like, oh, we have no idea who it's going to be, because going into that tribal council, it's like we're hearing all these names and we're not getting a definite answer. And it mirrors what the castaways were saying about how they had no idea where the vote was going to go. And it was kind of cool to get to experience that right along with them when they were having sort of the live tribal, because we're sitting there like, what is going on? Bruce, I mean, you've lived it. You lived through kind of chaotic votes and tribal councils, and what's it like to be out there and be going through this? Because I can't tell if these people were acting the entire time and they always knew it was going to be Soul, or if they genuinely didn't know where the vote was going to be going.
I think that there was so much. I believe Kyle said it correctly, that they didn't solidify anything at camp. They didn't have the ability to do it. They ran out of time because so many plans were going on. And not for nothing, this to me is another great episode. It's another great episode because now you have the ability to see that it is not as easy as it could be. There's no block voting always going on in the thought process at the beginning, because then something gets changed over and over and over and over again. And the uncertainty that's there, I really do think that there was a lot of uncertainty because the way that Gabe looked over, and I forgot who he said it to, and he's like, yes, like he's like kind of like, yes, this is the person. It seemed like it was a little frustrating. And then, Teeny taking a look at, like, was she on? Well, she was on the right side of the vote because everybody voted for Saul, but that wasn't what she thought was going to happen going into it. And then you have Sam talking Sue, and like, she's a bane of my existence pretty much, and he just wants her out. And the traction took place prior to tribal because there was real conversation about it, and you can I tried to see the edit to see exactly what was going on with that, but I like the idea that they gave so much of the back and forth, and then but I did not like the idea at the end that it was just a block vote and he was just done. So
look, none of the people that was thrown out there even looked like they remotely was worried. Sue didn't look like she was worried about nobody.
Didn't play idol.
She didn't play her idol. She held that.
It up. Didn't even seem like she even knew the vote was even her name. And Kyle was like, I'm just happy not to be voted for. So, it just didn't show no reaction up until tribal of them even worried about being voted out. I was like, this is kind of strange. Usually you have some type of reaction in the edit that says, yeah, I'm concerned, I'm gonna do some stuff. Now, who need to be pissed off is Rachel. Rachel need to come back to camp, man, kicking over fire pits. Because Sam was dirty as all get out on his. He was like, please don't blow up my spot. Man, that dude made a beeline to blowing it up. I said, yeah, I'm gonna take that a little personal, and I'm gonna have to deal with that at night. So that night when I get back to camp, I'm gonna have some choice words. Because I'm like, Sam, I understand you fighting for your game. You could have said it didn't, you got it from somebody else. He was like,
all that posturing about wanting to be like, oh, we're finally working together, this, that, and the other, and then first moment he gets, just,
dime dropping ass.
Under the bus. He ran her over with the bus, got in a Prius, and ran over again. Like, what the hell?
It was just mixed in with all the chaos tonight, and the big thing with this vote that I kept seeing on X when I was kind of scrolling through is a lot of people were confused that the Soul vote got brought up from Genevieve talking with Sue. And that's what a lot of people are confused about, because you still have tribal lines to an extent with Gata now being totally decimated, but Lavu's still working together. And oh my gosh, what was the blue stripe? Is it Tuku?
Yeah.
They always flow together, so I wanted to make sure. But you have Tuku staying Tuku strong. You have Lavo kind of still working together seemingly. And it was just confusing that Soul's name was thrown out by Genevieve. Did anyone else be like, why is that her target out of everybody?
Because she knocked out her baby daddy, Rome. What are you talking about, man? Stop playing.
What did she say?
Survivor. Hold on. Genevieve said the words that I've always told you. Hey, she said the words I was always saying. She said, "I'm petty." And so was the instrument of voting out Rome. She said, "I'm petty, and I'm gonna get him back." That's a great game of Survivor. I loved it.
I was definitely confused at first too when she said it, but then she gave the confessional where she said that it was, motivated by her, how Saul went after Rome. But I'm like, the
right decision, wrong decision.
Rome did that to himself. Like, yes, Saul did have kind of wasn't Rome's biggest fan and was ready to get rid of him, but Rome dug his own hole, and it was a unanimous pile-on at the merge when he got voted out. Maybe Saul was the first one to put it out there, but really, you're doing that? You're going on this whole vendetta, tanking your own number because of Rome?
Man, Sue was on a vendetta to get
really?
out Kyle. I mean,
yeah.
But the other thing also too is that I'm sorry.
No, you can go.
So if you think back to the whole Saul thing with Genevieve, he's her shield. Yeah. He's a loudmouth ass jumping all over the place with the edit. He's a good dude in real life, but and on the edit and on the show, he's jumping all over she's just sitting behind. And then if he says he's gonna do something, all right, cool, let's do it. And then she can just look and go, it was him, it was Rome. So she had that. Now Saul orchestrated taking that away. I understand how someone would feel, aka Jake, that if you take their person away, they're gonna be upset with you and they're not gonna want to work with you. So and try to get you out at some point in time. And that's what happened in my experience with Caleb. He had to go. And love Caleb to death and hope he's listening, but he had to go. And Jake, I don't think that Jake didn't like the idea of that at all. He was rolling with the rocks for him. So when it came time to write my name down, Jake was easy and he wrote my name down. So he probably had a confession oh, well, you got, my man out now, you're out. Going. So it's just that stuff sticks in your mind for a very long period of time you're out there because you have nothing else to think about.
Hey, welcome back to the pettiness, and I loved it. Yeah,
I just feel like tonight's vote personally was not a good gameplay vote. Everyone, it doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you're on in terms of whether this was a good episode or whether this was a bad episode. I feel like overall, and maybe you guys can agree or disagree with this, so far this season, I've seen really, really good gameplay, and I think that's been making this season really phenomenal thus far. This was the first episode I was like, I'm not saying it's bad gameplay, but I didn't think it was the right gameplay. I felt like it was a little sloppy, and I feel like there were bigger fish, no offense to Soul, bigger fish to fry than Soul in this game. There should have been, I think, Kyle, you just saw this man almost win immunity for the fourth straight time. It's not even like he was the first one out. Okay, maybe he's not that good at challenges. He was one person away from winning for a fourth straight time. If I'm out there, this guy has to go. He's won 3 already, and he almost won a 4th. There's no debate. He just lost. He could easily win again next week and win 3 more. He's got to go. That's a bigger person to get out of this game. I think if you're sitting around and you don't see Sam is a big threat. I think Sam is someone that, yes, I know his name was being thrown out, but I think that would have been a good person to go after. And I think one of the girls, I think Sue and Caroline, one of them should have also been targeted. You just got rid of Sierra because you were worried about a powerful duo in the game. If you're playing this game now and you don't see Sue and Caroline as a duo, you got to be a little blind. So I just thought there was bigger fish to fry. Abraham, I'm so sorry. I know you had something to add there. What were you saying?
No, Sam is not a threat. You
don't think Sam's a threat?
No. He don't eat fruit anyway, so what difference does it make? And there's a bunch of coconut on the
I really think if you remember back, they literally said the girls were all sitting around the water well, and they said we need to get a big, strong person out, a strong guy out. So they don't look at Kyle as being a strong person. They look at him as being an agile person more than likely, but they said it, and it came to fruition. And I believe it might have been Rachel who said it. But now the guys are all outnumbered. The girls think they get their shit together. Then it's 5-4, and we'll see what happens from there. But they did say in the episode, by the water well, let's get a big strong guy out. So
where's TK at when you need him? Where's he at? We need TK back.
Second person out of the game. Josh, did you have something to add on there?
I think I'm of two minds. I'm of two minds about whether or not this was good gameplay. Because on one hand, Genevieve, part of her rationale for Saul was like, oh, I think we need to get some of these more like low profile threats out of the game. Like people who, maybe no one's talking about him. He's not on anyone's radar. I get that. And I think that's good because you don't want those people to slip by. For someone, if you're a player like Genevieve, you want people who are like way more loud and out front, like still in the game ahead of you as shields. So I get that on one hand, but on the other hand, like Saul was, where else is he going to go but to you, Genevieve? Like I guess he and Teeny are type, but like he doesn't really have that many options and he feels like indebted to you. Like when they were putting together this plan to take out Sue or Kyle, like they were factoring in Genevieve, but not Rachel, even though Genevieve was the one who like kind of got the ball rolling against Saul in the first place. So like clearly he trusts you. Clearly he doesn't think that you have anything to do with him getting out. Like, and there's still 10 people left in the game. Why are you trying to get him out when, he could be working with you? So again, I get it. I get the wanting to take out like a more like medium threat, if you will, at this point, but probably I think the move would have been like it would have been better for it to be someone else and not Saul.
Well, and the other thing is Genevieve is working with Tuku to make this plan work, and there's still 5 Tuku members in the game?
4.
Okay, so that also confuses me in a sense because I don't know. Andy switching last week made sense to a point for me because he's got different connections and with Tuku, with people with Lavo and stuff like this. This is Genevieve working with Sue and kind of joining Tuku for this plan. And I think that's a bad idea because it's almost like you're one person. Tuku still has 4. If you don't want to look at them as a Tuku 4, you can look at it Sue has Caroline, or you can look at it Sue has Gabe. The point that I'm making is even if you flip and you go with this larger group to take out Soul, someone who, from what we can see, is willing to work with you, and like you said, Josh, has nowhere else to go. What's your, and I saw someone tweet this out, what's your long game plan here? Like you get Soul out, congratulations, you did what you wanted to do. What happens when there's not many more, there's not as many people to choose from on who you can send home, and Tuku turns around and go, well, Genevieve's at the bottom of this, like whatever alliance we have, let's just cut her now. We don't need her anymore. That's why sorry, I know that was tough for me to get out. I was losing my words, but that's kind of why I'm super confused about this entire situation is I don't see how this is going to, this is the first move she's made that I don't see how this is going to help her long-term.
Well,
the unfortunate part that I see right now is that this is what Emily did.
Yeah.
In my season.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
He was on the wrong side of that one.
So, right, so because she was a part of she latched on to the Reba 4.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yep. 4 here now. Did the bidding of the 4. Got out the Saul. Guess what happened? Boom. So I was taken out. And now I hot take, maybe, I don't know what it is, what you kids call it nowadays. But I'm thinking that Genevieve could very well go away. She could go away next week. Just now, listen, Randy, you might not want to hear it, but it could happen. She did their bidding. She did their bidding. That's it. And now it's like we have no use for you anymore because we still have 4. Now once we get rid of you, we still have the numbers and we just stop popping off on everybody.
I'm gonna cry.
But here's the crazy part. Rachel didn't show no loyalty to Saul for saving her.
No, that was a very quick storyline that just completely got washed away.
I would think that after I saved you from being voted out, Teeny would have been a better save now looking at it because like, well, I'll just save Teeny. At least I have some loyalty. But Rachel was like, I'm just gonna vote with everybody else. Sometimes I look at the game and be like, stop voting with everybody else. I know you're trying to save yourself, but at some point you're going to be on the other end of that everybody else. Sometimes it's nice to throw that extra vote out there. Well, we're going to throw a vote out there for Sue. Okay, well, Sue the only person who Rachel got an idol and Sue has an idol. Those are only two people that can navigate a tribal council and come out on the other end. That's why I said Sue didn't have no idea during the course of the day that it was her name, because she didn't even look like she was going to play that night.
Yeah, it did not look like she was even contemplating playing it. So,
and she has what most of them don't have. She has at least 2 lockdown players with her. She got Gabe and she got Carol. No matter what else happens on, it's 3 of them tight. And as you start to get these numbers dwindling down, you only need 2 more. Then you're going to need 4. You're going to outnumber everybody else. So I'm with Bruce on that. Eventually, Teeny going to be gone. Genevieve going to be gone, because they're going to be like, well, we don't need you anymore. Unless Sue is bonded with Genevieve, and then Teeny's going to be next. Because Teeny, I can understand your emotions behind that, but you voted for Saul, so stop crying. You voted for him.
I also think that, I mean, obviously we're seeing both, like in the episodes we've seen already and in the previews for next week, that Sue really has an axe to grind with Kyle, because he voted for her once. Maybe they don't get along, whatever. Like, but other than that, we don't, like, if you're someone in a game like Genevieve, you don't know that there's any like division in the ranks among Tuku. So there's still 4 of them, and now there's only 9 people left. And so there's the last round that y'all like outnumber them like 5-4. If you can get all 5 people to work together, and if you can avoid like any idols or advantages or anything like that. And when this was an opportunity that, like, you know, with all the chaos and everything, you probably could have, if nobody loses a vote, because you never know what's going to happen, you know, with that nonsense. So, yeah, I feel like the more I think about this, the more I'm coming back to, I think this probably would have been a better opportunity for Genevieve, especially thinking about her game, to take a swing against somebody from Tuku. Doesn't matter who, but just someone, so that it eliminates the option of there being 4 of them that can like kind of run the table. Because, you know, they don't seem as locked in as Reba was from what we can tell, but still, like, you don't even want to have that be an option on the table.
Because now you have to do it going into next week.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I mean, maybe Kyle's just going to put such a big target on himself because of the challenges, and maybe Sue really does, you know, want to see his head on a platter. But like, you know, we don't.
After I saw that
leave that up to chance.
After I saw that preview of like the sneak peek of next week, and she's like, I hate him, or whatever, I was like, I have a feeling Kyle wins immunity next week. Like I have a gut feeling that he's going to win immunity again. Okay, so I mean, we've talked a lot about what led to this elimination. I'm sure we'll swing back by and touch on like Soul and what he might bring to the jury and like him leaving the game now. I want to go back to what Bruce said. If no one loses their vote, this was sorry, getting choked up just thinking about it. I'm trying to decide how long I want to rant, because there's been podcasts in the back where I've ranted, and so long that like Abraham could probably go make a cup of coffee and come back and I'd still be ranting over here. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I'm just going to play the host here, because I posted a video on Instagram where I already got my thoughts out. You guys can go watch it in our Instagram stories. It's me ranting during commercial break. It was not a great week for Jeff Probst in production. I'm going to bring this up. Pardon me while I change the layout. This was announced earlier this week. I'm not going to touch too much on it because we're not here to talk about season 50 right now. We've already talked about season 50 a lot. But he basically tells Entertainment Weekly he wants joyful players who are in a good mood on Survivor 50. And the quote is, we're not looking for disgruntled players looking to settle a score. We're looking for players who want a second chance, who have something to prove to themselves. I didn't take this too hard. I was like, all right, whatever. You just want happy-go-lucky people out there. We already knew that you're not casting villains. You've already told us that. But a lot of people, for those who aren't reading social media and everything, a lot of people responded to this and said, well, Jeff's going to make, there it is, Survivor 50 is going to be made boring. It's going to be a boring season. They're going to make it boring. They're just going to bring back boring players, which is a possibility. There's a lot of people who do not fit what Jeff Probst just said that fans really want to see back, like a Natalie Bolton. People would love to see her. I promise you, she's not a joyful player. It's just like, so already started with kind of pissing off the fan community in that sense of people being like, wow, it's going to be boring. I want to show you
this. I disagree with that.
I want to show you this, Abraham. Do you disagree with this or the last slide? Because I want to show you this. I posted this just for fun because after tonight, it was former players, other reality stars, fans, all voicing their frustration with taking away votes. And we've talked over the years about how Jeff and production are listening to the fans. And they've made changes. They have. But for whatever reason, this is the one gray area. This is the one great thing, because we've been saying it for years, that we don't take people's votes away and they don't care. I'm not going to touch too much on this. This was a poll I wrote because, do you want Jeff to still run Survivor and stuff? Most people still say yes. We've grown up watching this dude. We don't want him to go anywhere. 43% said he's ruining it. That's a great.
Hey, let me ask this for you right quick. 100% got to look at it to see if he's ruining it. So guess what? They still looking at it. So at the end of the day, it's ratings that run Survivor. It's a CBS show. So if everybody has an opinion, in order to get an opinion, you have to look at it to get the opinion. So you're still looking at the show. And at the end of the day, it's a show. It's a reality show. You never know what you're going to get. So to say that he doesn't want disgruntled people, some people should never come back and play the game of Survivor. They are truly disgruntled. And it's stuff that you see on camera, and it's stuff that you don't see behind the scenes that maybe took place at Ponderosa, or doing something that we were doing that didn't show up. And they don't need to come back because they've done some stuff that they shouldn't have done.
I'll just say every other reality show casts like asshole villains and stuff, and it's very entertaining. I don't see why Survivor has to be the one show that doesn't. I'll put that out.
Here's the thing about it. I don't think that, because let's say, for instance, South Africa came back and said, hey, pre-marriage person came back and they're going to play. All the pre-marriage people, we're going to put you back in and play. And it was a great season. Mm-hmm. People make Survivor. No matter where you end up in the Survivor pecking order of being put off the show, you make it. But an asshole is an asshole no matter what day of the week it is. So sometimes they're not good TV and you don't want to bring them back. So, but it's a show at the end of the day.
Oh, we're going to have to talk about this a different time. Bruce, go ahead, because I know we're here to talk about like tonight's episode. We're going to have a whole podcast where we talk about like people who we want to come back. And I will, because I argue that assholes are great television. But Bruce, I know you had something.
So you got to slap the shit out of one of them.
So I'm going to look directly into the camera, into the people that don't know shit from shit. Sorry, I'm just going to say it. Mind your business. Okay, Jeff, and I'm not going to be, and I don't care who says anything about this. If you clap at me, I'm going to clap back. I promise you. Please understand something. This show has been on television for 24 years. What we're looking at is that Jeff is doing something that y'all that are doing all this stuff and complaining about it, he's catering to you and other people as well. Challenges are still hard and difficult. Being out there is hard and difficult. But then they don't want to cast the assholes, because once the assholes go in there, like the Russell Hansons show up and this, that, and the other, once they start showing up, then what are you going to do? You're going to complain, oh, you got the assholes here. This is horrible, the worst show ever. Stay in your lane. It's entertainment. It's reality television, okay? Stay in your lane, mind your business, and just let it go. Let it play out. If you don't like it, don't worry about it, because some of this. What are the ratings at this season? I believe on average is like 5.7.
I think they're down from 46, but they're still up from 45, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're still good. Long story short, the ratings are still good. I think they're just a little down from last season.
And CBS is going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to put out this product, and it's going to change a little bit as time goes on, because this is CBS is one of the biggest moneymakers, and they're going to not have it ruined because something shows up. They almost had it ruined season 39 when, they had the whole thing going on with was it Dan with the leg, whatever have you?
Yeah.
But we only know a piece of that. So listen, again, stay in your lane, mind your business. It's going to be just fine. If you don't like it, turn the channel, go to NBC and see what's on over there. I bet it's like Blue Bloods or some shit, some boring ass show. And back
Bruce, was that directed towards me? My lane is to talk. No, I'm kidding.
Like,
I appreciate what you're doing. Like, you're putting it out there. Like, it's all right. So let's see what the people are thinking. Look at this polls. I hate polls to begin with. All right, but it's like you got to
bad
understand
season for polls.
You have to be able to just understand it's just a reality television show, unscripted. People are out there having the time of their life. They're having experience, and they're going through some stuff. And when that stuff is over, it takes a year or so for them to actually mentally get back to where they were prior to. So understand this is real life, but it's also reality television. Sit there, watch it, get yourself a drink, a little popcorn, and just chill. When it's over, watch the news.
Yeah, I'm just here to cause the chaos and bring up all the negatives and positives and stuff for us to talk about. Josh, in terms of like what Jeff did tonight that started this whole conversation, because the only reason I made that poll, I didn't just make it out of nowhere because I was furious as much as I would have loved to. I made it because like the Drop Your Buffs podcast said, they posted something that said fire Jeff Probst. There were people online saying, we're done with this. Like, stop taking away votes. What is your take on, yes, only one person lost their vote, but for me, that doesn't make up for it. Like, I just wish he would acknowledge that fans do not like this and then come out next season and say, we're not going to take votes away. Look at the camera and say, we're sorry to everyone at home. We saw your messages, because they have to know people don't like it. They have to see this.
My answer to that, so let me tell you something. If a
wait, hold on. You're cutting off Josh, though.
Here's the thing, but if you said Josh, we'll use Josh's example. Looking at what has transpired up into 47, and if you got the call today, would you be like, no, it ain't what I want to do. I'm not gonna go. Or are you going?
Yes, I would. I've thought about this a lot because, like, is the game now, like, with all of this, like, vote loss, like, you know, they're just taking away votes like more and more. Not only with like people losing their votes or just like arbitrary, like, oh, you have the most money at the auction, you lose your vote. You last place at this challenge, you lose your vote. Final 4 round, no vote. Final 3 round, no vote. Like, that does dilute the game, in my opinion. That being said, it's still my favorite show. It still is the best game, like, reality competition like that there is, in my opinion. So the way I think about it is, like, you go to your friend's house to play a game you all love, and say your friend has some like really stupid house rule that, like, you know, makes the game like not as fun, and like it kind of like undermines kind of the original purpose of the game. You know, like that's how I see a lot of these production shenanigans going on. But it's still, at the end of the day, a game that you love, playing with people you love, and like the whole experience is something you enjoy. Like, yeah, could it be better without some of these like vote losing nonsense? Like, yes, it would, and it could, and like I want that. You know, as a potential player, I would want that. As a fan, I want that. But it still is, like, you know, it still is like my favorite show. It still is like one of the best games that you can play at the end of the day. So, like, the answer is yes in a heartbeat. However, if I were a production consultant, I would still have a lot of feedback on some of these things, because the premise of the show is, like, you put people on an island and then they just vote each other out until there's only one person left. That's why 50 million people watched this 24 years ago. And that's why we're still watching this now. So, like, why are we taking that away? That's the thing that I have a hard time with. But still, at the end of the day, like, it is a show. I'm still watching. I'm pot committed, you know, and I think that like Jeff, at the end of the day, Jeff doesn't really give an F like what I think. So here I am, and will I complain about it sometimes? Yes, but also will I have fun just like getting on here each week and talking about this with you guys and being excited to see what happens and enjoying all the castmates and enjoying all the dialogue on Twitter or on Blue Sky or whatever it is. Like, yes, I'm here for all of it.
Blue Sky shout out. Great job, Josh.
Oh yeah.
You know who's gonna be the host of Survivor? It was the guy that hosted Amazing Race.
Oh, Phil.
Yeah. That's who's going to be the original host of Survivor.
Look, I agree with everything that Josh says. Like, I'm going to keep watching it, obviously. I think people are going way too far and being like, oh, I'm done. Like, and I agree with Bruce. If you're done, you're done. Turn it off. There's other stuff you can watch. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. But just one last thing on that, just really quick.
Go ahead.
Again, like Josh, like what you had mentioned. So you have this convoluted game at your friend's house, but you're still going to show up to your friend's house.
For sure.
Without a doubt. I've always said that when I played, I had the ability to do the puzzle, and the puzzle would have been if I didn't solve it, I lose my vote. I knew at that point in time my vote was the most important thing in this entire game. So now when they turn around and they take it away, meaning that now for the auction I have no vote. Well, just like when they're trying to do this reverse this Jenga puzzle, you're fearful of losing your vote. So you're concentrating harder. You have that thing that inner thing that's coming out of you, the fear, just the will to want to win is coming out of you. And then if you lose that little bit of concentration, you lose. But you fought as hard as you could. If there's no repercussions for it at this point in time, then you don't get as good a TV. I think that's where they're trying to go with it. You have to have a repercussion for an action. So the action is you didn't do well in the first part of the challenge. Now you want to try to win it back. Well, you know what? If you can't win it back by being better than other people, then you lose your vote. So I get it. Do I like it? Not necessarily, but I get it.
If you look at the challenge, if you look at the challenge setup, they come there, Teeny runs in with the parchment, which is an excitement in itself because you've lived for this moment to get that parchment in there. Now you want to see what the parchment says. It says, okay, you're going in pairs of twos. The strategy starts right there. Who do I pair up with an opportunity to win? Because we're not trying to just go play. We're trying to win. So who everybody pairs up? Well, Kyle is undefeated, so you want to pair with him. So Gabe had Gabe not done that, guess what? Gabe wouldn't have won. Gabe would have been out of this challenge. So Gabe says, no, I'm partnering with the best guy out here. The rest of them kind of just partner up with each other. Okay, we get to the challenge. TV says you have to change something because people get tired of seeing the same old thing. That's why the games are bigger now. And he says, okay, for those that run at the end, you compete. Also, we're playing for reward. But for those that lose, here's the consequences. Because here, Survivor is outwit, outplay, outlast. I think people forget about the outwit part. If I don't have a vote, how can I outwit the next person? How can I last longer with you without even a vote? Now, when it comes to tribal council and you come down and you standing in front of them, you say, hey, look, I lost my vote 5 times. And I'm here sitting right here in front of y'all. And I maneuvered through the game to get here to say, I deserve $1 million. Would you not get that person $1 million?
I mean, that's a great. My thing is, the thing that I'm frustrated with is the fact, Abraham, you said TV tells us, and I know this being in the entertainment industry and working with producers and stuff like that. It is. You don't change something, people get boring. Or bored of it. Like, look at The Walking Dead. Super popular show for 7 or 8 seasons. I'm not saying maybe you guys finished it, but if you look at it, most people who did not finish The Walking Dead stopped around season 6 or 7 because it ended up being pretty much the exact same thing. That's what happens with, if I put it in terms of what I know, which is acting and stuff like that. That's what happens with TV shows that run way too long. The show Schitt's Creek stopped at 6 seasons because they didn't want to run into that problem. What people wanted more seasons, they said, look, we don't want to get to the point where people stop watching because they're sick of it. So in terms of Survivor, I get that. And I have no problem with them trying stuff. They have to try stuff. My problem is, and I'm not going to go on a whole nother tangent about it again. I already yelled about it. But when the overwhelming fan base has told you they do not like something, and this is something, they did it with the hourglass. Everyone hated the hourglass. And Jeff acknowledged it. He literally, I'm pretty sure, said in an interview, look, it didn't work out. That was my idea.
Because he almost got punched in the face. Dan McCray was about to beat his ass.
Hold on.
This season needs a Dan McCray.
Hold on, Randy. I just asked Danny 2 months ago, hey, man, what about that hourglass? Danny's still mad about that.
Yeah, so they took the hourglass away. Do you guys remember the do or die advantage? They took that away.
Even worse.
Yeah, because people hated that. So that's where my frustrations come in. Producers, like I said, how I started this whole debate here. Producers have acknowledged, look, we're going to try new stuff. We have to. And we're going to see if it, Jeff himself even said, we're going to see if it sticks. Some of it will, some of it won't. They've acknowledged that they are going to listen to the fans. And if you really, really hate something, they'll take it away. Except taking people's votes. That's the one gray area that they don't seem. It's almost like Jeff is just like, we're keeping this in. I don't care if it ruins the show. I really don't, because I think it's the greatest thing ever. And that's what is making me mad, because the bare essential of the show. Sorry, that is not the right term. I am not with my wordplay. Yeah, I'm not with my words tonight. I can laugh at myself and admit it. But anyways, the backbone of the show is what Josh said earlier, which was basically, people going out on an island, voting each other out. We watched 40 seasons of that. Some different advantages here and there, different twists here and there. But at the end of the day, 39 days, 18 to 20 people, and at the end of every day, you have tribal council, you're going to vote someone out. Mm-hmm. And there was a time where a screw came loose in the producers' minds that said, one of the things we have to change is stop letting people vote. And I'm still trying to see the upside. If anything, it's production being like, this will cause chaos. Chaos is good for ratings, et cetera, et cetera. But that's where I get frustrated, because they have to know. Nothing makes me more mad than when the higher ups blatantly ignore the fans, because the fans are why you guys have jobs right now. The fans are literally why your show is on air. And so if you're going to blatantly ignore the fans, it's a sign of disrespect. And that's why I went on my rant tonight on Instagram to Jeff Probst, even though he's never going to see it, obviously. But that's why I go on these rants, is to me, it's a sign of disrespect to the fandom, because everyone obviously hates them taking away votes. And you're blatantly saying, we don't give a crap what you want. We don't.
So two things really quick. One is that you can do 100 perfect things, nice things, helping little old ladies across the street, cats out of a tree, raking leaves for your neighbor. You can do all that good stuff. That one thing that shows up, that negative thing, tracks a little bit more, and more people tend to see it. So I'm thinking that the people that are complaining about because I don't like it. I don't like the other day they take it away, but I understand why they take it away. For every 100,000 people that are saying that they don't care about it, you got one person, 10 people saying whatever. I really do think that the players, the people that are playing this game, have a ton more weight than what 100,000 people complaining about it would be.
I agree with that.
So Daniel, as I mentioned before, Danny McRae complaining about the hourglass and how horrible that was. He couldn't have been the only one on the season that did that. So that's why they looked at it and they said, okay, internally, the producers are listening to what the players are saying, because the players are what make this thing happen. Everybody, all the fans have an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. You gotta look at an asshole.
You can't please everybody. Yeah,
you can't please everybody. So that's why they look at it and they say, okay, we're going to take 90% of the weight's going to go to the players. 8% is going to go to production, and then 2% is going to go to the fans. And until you get more fans that are saying, because remember, 100 people saying it's beautiful, one person turns around and says it's shit, and that one person is going to get all that weight. But it really doesn't beckon anything else, because they're looking at numbers. There's an analytics person that's looking at numbers and saying, okay, we have some negative publicity, but it's not enough to change what we're doing. That hourglass thing changed what they were doing. They were like, no, the hell with that. That's gone. Goodbye.
But looking at 41, I know, and I've always said it, when it comes to production and I see something that's changed from the new era starting at 41 going to 47, I've always given them their props. Hey, production, y'all did an outstanding job. Y'all put that together. It's effective, but it had to grow. And like Bruce said, you may do 100 things right and one thing people disagree with, but as a players, we get to see the behind the scenes of the edit that you don't see on TV. We get to live through it and be like, okay, yeah, that was a good twist. The game of Survivor is called Outwit, Outplay, Outlast. If you can't play without a vote, yeah, you may not like it, but if you can't play without a vote, your wit stop with your vote? No, look at Sam. He was like, hey, I'm out, but he got his vote back through a game. He could have just as easily got that thing knocked over and had no game. But you got to be able to play the game of Survivor in all its categories. Outwit, outplay, and outlast. And that's the name of the game. So the fans are playing from a perspective of that chair. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I was on that chair. And I talked a gang of noise about players. Oh, man, I had a field day on them. I was tossing the player football on them every time I looked at Survivor. I was like, why are you crying? Why can't you get up? Why can't you do that? Man, Bruce, back me up, man. When I got out there, I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Something right. Something right over here. You want me to jump off a perfectly good ship and fully clothed? I thought that wasn't even part of the game. Man.
I mean, excellent points. It's something that is probably not going to go away. So we're just going to have to get used to it. But I do agree that players carry more weight. And I've always said that if Jeff's ever going to change anything about this new era and the stuff that sucks about it, there's going to have to be a player that is okay going out there, pissing Jeff off, and never playing Survivor again. And I probably will never get casted if this video ever gets out there.
Probably will get casted.
But I've literally thought about this. Josh said if he got the call, he's still going out there. If I got the call, of course, I'm still going out there. But I've already got this plan that if something like this happens, I'm going to put my head in my lap during the challenge, and then that prompts Jeff to be like, Randy, you had a big reaction. What's going on? And I'm just going to tell him, Jeff, this stinks. You're messing this game up right now. This whole takeaway vote thing, it sucks. And that's what it's going to take. And that's why I'm like begging someone, if you get casted on the show, play nice until you get on the show and then tell Jeff that all this sucks.
Be prepared for sassy Jeff, though.
Oh yeah.
Gonna clap back at you like, oh yeah, it sucks.
He'll just sit there and take it.
If you do that, you will never play Survivor again. So you're making that sacrifice.
I wouldn't say that because they've had a lot of combative players with Jeff in the past, and they came back and play again. The thing about it is, what makes good TV? If you tell Jeff, look, that thing you just did was total trash. Y'all need to kick that and kick rocks with it. It's gonna make it to TV because people want to see that interaction. And then Jeff is going to go in and do what he's going to do anyway.
Danny would have came back. Danny, they would have Danny back in a second, but he's just like, nah, I'm done with it.
If I ever meet Jeff, people say, what would you wouldn't say this if you actually met Jeff. I said, yes. If I meet Jeff, the first thing I'm going to say is, Jeff, why are you messing with the game this much? Why?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. That's not what you're
I promise you it is. I have very heated words for Jeff that I cannot say on this podcast. But we have to.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you. I got to tell you this.
I got to get to ad break.
I'm going to help you out. Here's what I tell people that don't. We may be on the TV screen doing this, and we love doing it. Me and Bruce. But in real life, I'm not a TV character. I got to drag Roman, threw him in the water. I'm gonna drag you too. So.
Abraham, we can talk. We'll talk on the phone about this. But I've got words I can't say. There's a reason Australian Survivor is my favorite. I love it. But I got to get to ad break. When we come back, we spent all our time talking about the two biggest things that happened this episode. I'm going to ask the guys, what did we miss in like a rapid fire round of what do we need to talk about? Who's running this game right now? We'll be right back.
Hi, Survivor Now podcast listeners. I am Katie from KT Designs, better known as Katie Tedesco Art on both Instagram and Etsy. I have been designing and selling Survivor products for over 7 years at my Etsy shop, including replicas like hidden immunity idols and Survivor trading cards with all of the players' stats on the back. I am so grateful for Survivor Now for giving me this shout out and helping me reach even more super fans. I love listening to their podcast. So if you are looking for some really unique reality TV products for yourself or to give a super fan in your life, come check out my Etsy shop at www.etsy.com/shop/KatieTedescoArt.com.
This is why you tune in to the Survivor Now podcast, because other podcasts are going to go through and talk about everything that happened. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty and spend hours debating topics. And I love it. And we're going to give our honest opinions. Okay, let's do a rapid fire round here. We've talked about the big things this episode, which was taking away the votes, basically the twist that happened, and then who went home. And I know we got more into like Jeff Probst running things and all that stuff, but the twist was the first two pairs out of the challenge lose their vote, but then they go and they can earn it back. And I did like how only one person couldn't vote. Wasn't a fan of the fact that the challenge that they had was reverse Jenga. It was build a stack of cards. Whoever knocks the stack down, you lose your vote. Only this is such a minor complaint, and I get it's just part of being out there on the island. I don't like that challenge, and I don't like it when there's a vote on the line just because one gust of wind, you could do everything right, and one gust of wind is just going to take your vote away. So it was tough to see that, but Caroline loses her vote. It doesn't end up really mattering. Soul goes home anyways. So, gentlemen, what else stuck out to you? I'll go to Josh first here. What stuck out to you this episode that we have not touched base on thus far?
Oh, that we have not touched base on. I would say just Genevieve and like being, I mean, we talked about was it the right decision or the wrong decision, but she at this point is being portrayed as like the person with the most influence and the most sway.
Yes.
Which is so interesting because they gave her like nothing at all the first like 3 episodes or so. But she's become like a pretty, like, I mean, they're giving her all those like really complex, like strategic confessionals where she's the one like calling the shots really. And people aren't saying her name yet. So I think that is, I don't know. I posted about this and said this in our group chat too, but I feel like I don't know if she's going to win because
you're breaking my heart here.
We've seen this before, you know, with like Omer and with Jesse and like with, you know, other people in the new era where it's like, oh, wow, they're like really running this and it's really masterfully done. But I don't know. I just feel like it's going to catch up to her.
I mean, I definitely could see it catching up to her because I saw someone else post that, not to make this reference, but Genevieve is building her house of cards right now, and it's her house of alliances, and eventually it's going to come crashing down. And I was getting very worried this episode because she's talking to everybody. And I said this on the pre-show. It's almost like she has the ability to hypnotize someone. She's such a good social player in the terms of she lets people come up to her, hey, I want to vote out Gabe. And then she's like, okay, I'm hearing you. I get why you want to do that. But let's do this. And then usually she ends up getting her way, which is exactly what you said, Josh. She's very persuasive in that sense. And I was getting scared because she was talking to everyone, and it felt like one of those episodes where it was going to come back on her. Like, wait a minute. You heard this from Genevieve? I was so scared about that, and I am starting to get worried that that might end up happening, where it's like one of these episodes, they're like, yo, we got to make a big move. You know who's really running this game right now? Genevieve. And then she becomes the target for everyone because they all find out she's intermingling and talking and aligning with every single person out there on that island. So I am scared about that. But in terms of who I think's the best player out there on the island right now, I think it is Genevieve. That's my personal opinion about that.
I can agree with that. The thing that I picked up from this episode was that Kyle's safe, which is a good thing. He's on my squad. He's my last dude. And the selfish thing on my side of it is that, you know, and I know that I'm in a different category as Kyle, but had just thinking back to my own gameplay, had I been in the same situation, I won a couple in a row, and that was a little bit of a conversation that they hated the idea that I was doing that, blah, blah, blah. Kyle ends up safe after winning 3 in a row. No immunity, no nothing, and here we go. He's on to the next episode. Could that have happened on my side of it? You know, so he makes me second guess my playing of it because I was told on a regular basis that if I played my idol, get flushed it, then it'd be easier to work with me because they knew that, you know, that I knew that I would be in trouble at that point in time and I would be very loyal to whatever was going on. And that's what was told to me. But for him, he probably has more inroads than what we're seeing. He has more of a social game out there than what we think. And also, I love the idea. I know you guys saw it. I love the idea that Sam said pariah.
What's up, pepperaya?
CBS. Yeah, it was great to see it. When I heard him say that, I'm like, yes, my word. So, it all works out.
Yeah, I was very, very shocked that Kyle was not a bigger target. Granted, like what I said earlier in the podcast about like he almost won immunity again. I was cheering for him. It felt like I was watching my favorite sports team like get to, I don't know, say the record in basketball is winning, like going 24-0 is the record of like the best start all time. And the Cavaliers are 12-0. They might be 13-0. I didn't know if they play or not tonight or not. But they're 12-0 right now. And that's what it kind of felt like with Kyle. I'm so invested in him possibly breaking this record that it'd be like the Cavs getting to 22-0 and then losing to the Pistons. And then it's like, I thought when it came down to him and Gabe, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's actually going to win another one. Abraham, what did you take away from this episode?
You know what?
The Cavs did win tonight, by the way.
They did 13-0. Wow.
Hold on. I think the Spurs.
I hope I ruined that for you, like you ruined something for me last week. But go ahead.
Hey, I'm not going to bring up the fact that, yes, we beat you, Bruce. Yes, but I'm not going to bring up the fact that Josh's Milwaukee Bucks are. Are you a Bucks fan, Josh?
Very casual. I do have a sticker here on my water bottle.
You got a sticker. I'm about to say no, but he got a sticker.
I mean, that's from, everyone in Milwaukee, like, was all about the Bucks 3 years ago when they won it all. And, Bucks in 6 was like the city's rallying cry.
Yeah.
I am not a huge NBA guy, but I do for the Bucks if I have one. Yeah,
I feel you. It's not as bad as Abraham being a Spurs fan. But anyways, Abraham.
50 points tonight and they win. So, I think Sue's playing an excellent. Well, I think Sue is playing 80% of an excellent game, because when Genevieve wanted to vote out Saul, Sue wasn't the messenger. Sue said, "Hey, you got to go talk to Gabe." So she was like, "Hey, I'm good with it, but you got to go talk to the person." And I like that level of manipulation. Well, you want to get it done, I'm with you, but you got to go get the next person. But I think what's going to happen is her vendetta against Kyle is going to derail her, because we've seen it in past seasons where somebody gets focused on just voting out one person, so they end up getting stuff voted out because they miss other opportunities. But I like the way Sue is playing. She's been competitive in challenges. She's won challenges, and she has an immunity idol. She has an opportunity to move further in the game. And if she does get that sense that somebody's trying to blindside her, rephrase that. Eden has even talked about somebody knowing she got the idol. Caroline knows. Tiana did know, but she's gone. Caroline knew, but she ain't saying anything about it. And that's her number 1 and 2. So I think it's going to be interesting how they play the game with an idol going forward to get further in the game.
Mm-hmm. I love that. My takeaway tonight was I've been watching The Penguin, and I wish I just finished The Penguin tonight. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I had to put it. No, the only reason I said that is because I'm obsessed with that show at the moment. But no, it honestly, take away the lost vote. It still was really entertaining to watch the chaos go down. It was very chaotic, like extremely to the point. Like it even surpassed usual Survivor chaos, because it got to the point where I was like, can we just vote? I have no idea where this is going right now. And there were so many names being thrown out. I love how people were still talking to Jeff while everyone is talking behind them. Like if that was me, Jeff, I'd say exactly what Gabe said during the challenge of like, respectfully, don't talk to me. Or what did he say? He's like, politely, don't talk to me right now. And Jeff said politely accepted. And then what was the reward tonight? I think I missed that. It was
sandwiches. Like, yeah, they look good.
BLTs would be great. Protein and
what?
No,
BLTs is a waste. It's a freaking waste. You get lettuce, tomato, like that doesn't fill up anything. That's out of your system within 5 minutes. The bacon is good for the taste. The bread's there just to make it friggin'.
You're getting some protein with the bacon.
Make it sleepy.
Listen, I can't take it. Give me a hot pastrami sandwich. Like, give me something with some substance.
We're going to give you that light touch. We're going to give you some bacon and some lettuce.
Now
I eat like a fat boy. Just give me all that damn food.
I'm hungry for a BLT now.
You can get that lettuce off the ground. Get you some coconuts.
That's Abraham. Abraham and I on the same season. I'm complaining to Jeff about the twists and stuff. Abraham's complaining about the lettuce on his sandwich.
Abraham will be sitting back looking at me like, man, let's go home sleepy. So.
We've got so much planned for you guys this week. If we didn't cover anything on the after show, don't worry, because our fellow analysts will cover it throughout the week here on Survivor Now on YouTube, Twitch, X, Spotify, or you can check out all of our content in audio or video form on our website, survivornowpodcast.com. And it starts tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern time, a Survivor legend. I don't know if you can say that. He's a legend to us. But from Survivor Season 11, Guatemala, Brian, is it Corden? Yeah, I think it's Corden. Yeah, Brian Corden will be joining Tegwith and Kara for Survivor Social. This is his second time, so he's coming back on Survivor Now, and he is such an incredible guy and has a great knowledge of the game. This is a podcast you guys are not going to want to miss. And then if there's any Big Brother fans out there, on Friday, noon Eastern, Quinn Martin from this past season of Big Brother will join Jack and Will for Survivor Stockwatch. The guys will talk about who is in the best position in the final 9 to win the game, who is quickly dropping and could be out of the game as quickly as next week. And Quinn will give his opinion on the season thus far. So very happy to have Quinn joining us, first time Survivor Now podcast guest. And then on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, join Ollie, Phil, and Matthew for Got Something For You as they take you scene by scene, and they also take a look at some of the best and worst social media moments from the week with their final segment of the episode, The Tribe Has Spoken. So great content planned for you guys, and not only great YouTube content, but you can also check out our content over on our Patreon. If you weren't here last week, Bruce said something that we might be doing. Did you say it on air, Bruce? You did say it on air.
Yeah.
I don't remember. A lot of us Survivor Now analysts will be going to New York City. And with that, we're all going to get together and have a nice lunch. And it's still a work in progress, but we're trying to make a sweepstakes for you guys, where if you join our Patreon into the sweepstakes, you might get the opportunity to meet a large majority of the podcasting crew. Come out, have lunch with us, chat Survivor with us. Abraham will be there. I believe Bruce will be there for the lunch. Bruce, you're going to be there, right?
Bruce said all that.
I'll be there. And then other people you could see, Tegwith, Kara, Matthew. There's going to be a large, Avery will be there. So there's going to be a large group of us. It is in the works. I'm hoping to get everything settled, like where it's going to be. I got to figure out where it's going to be at first and all that. But as soon as I figure that out, we'll look into doing the sweepstakes thing. So if you're going to be in New York, you could come out, have lunch with us. So stay tuned for that. You can also check out our shop. Go get all your apparel. The link is in the description below, along with the Patreon link. Check us out on our social media. And then if you watched us today, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, or subscribe to the channel, like this video, got that mixed up, and listen to all the content on Spotify. Please leave us a rating as well. Anybody got anything? We never do this. It's always Survivor thing. Did anyone got any fun plans this weekend?
Man, after last weekend, I went to New York last weekend and I had a damn good time. And I can't keep doing that in a row. Like, this is like multiple weeks in a row that I'm going out and doing something. So I think I'm just going to chill this weekend and hang out. And I won't be the fourth. I'm going to the Bryson Wynn event. So that's going to be off the hook. That's going to be a lot of fun. But up until that point, I think it's going to be mellowed out. Have a drink here or there.
Oh, that's the 4th of December?
4th of December.
I was just about to say, when I asked if anyone's doing anything fun and everyone just sat here silent, including myself, I was like, man, we're all boring.
No, I'm playing golf. Look, I'm playing golf and I got to finish up the patio, working on the outdoor patio. So, but I got to go.
Thanksgiving's coming.
Huh?
Thanksgiving's coming. Got to get it done.
Yeah.
Well, I already put up all the walls. I put up 5 walls. So it's already done. I already painted it. I got to hang the TV.
I have a Friendsgiving this weekend, and then not this weekend, but next Wednesday, I'm going to be going to the Bryson Wendell event in Chicago.
Josh,
So
I don't think I'm going to be there
next week.
I don't think I'm going to be there. I have not. If I'm going to be there, it's going to be a last minute thing. I had some unexpected expenses come out.
It's all good.
So
it's all good.
I get paid on Friday. We're going to see how that looks. And then all my big bills are paid for. So we're going to see if there's any tickets available. It's to be determined, but I'll let you know. I'll send you a text. But if you're going to be in Chicago, go bug Josh. Sorry, he's going to be like, don't put that out there. Josh will be.
No, it's all good. It'll be fun. I've never been to a Bryson Wendell event before, so I'm really excited.
Well, if anybody's doing a watch party in Seattle next week, hit us up.
Oh, I forgot to say that earlier. My bad, Abraham. Yeah, Abraham will be in Seattle. What day are you going to be in Seattle? Wednesday next week?
I'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Is anybody going to be on the podcast next week? Bruce will be here.
I'll be. Oh, don't leave it up to me. I'm hitting buttons.
Like I got to work.
Abraham won't be on. Josh won't be on, and there's a chance I will not be on.
I'll be pissing people off with their thumbs. They're like, I can't believe he said that.
Usually, Survivor leaves you with, here's a sneak peek of next week's episode. Here's a sneak peek of next week's episode of Survivor Now. Wait.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I know you're here to see me and listen to everything I got to say because everything I say is perfect. Keep it in mind.